morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Leadership the Military Way. I thank you for taking time out and being here today. Myself, being part of Indian Army, take pleasure in introducing today's presenter, Colonel Piyush Agrawal. Colonel Piyush Agrawal, an alumnus of RIMC and NDA, is a thorough professional with varied and vast experience in Indian Army. He has participated in Operation Rakshak 1 and 2 in Punjab and J&K during peak of terrorism. He has been part of Kargil War in 1999 and has led several missions in Jammu and Kashmir while serving in Rashtriya Rifles. During Operation Parakram, he served in Rajasthan as a part of Strike Corps. He has conducted more than 400 training programs on a variety of subjects, including leadership, disaster management, team building, and many more. He has also been a speaker on prestigious international platform TEDx. We'll be running a live Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions, just pop them in a chat box. And if you miss anything, don't worry, we'll be sending around the on-demand recording when it's available. Before I hand over the session to Colonel Sir, let me unquote what Indra Nooyi has to say about leadership. I unquote, leadership is hard to define and good leadership even harder. But if you can get people to follow you to the end of the earth, you are a great leader. I now request young dynamic leader, Colonel Piyush Agrawal, sir, to take over the session.
Thank you, Dr. Venkatesh. It's always a pleasure to talk to so many people. Before I start, I'll share my screen and we're having little, okay. Can you have my screen sharing on?
Yeah. I'm there, sir.
Okay, meanwhile, we'll, for next about 1 hour or so, we'll be discussing a lot of issues. And the moment the screen gets shared, then I will start my interactive session with all of you.
Piyush Agrawal, Colonel Piyush Agrawal ki host icheva tondaraga. Tondarge. Colonel Piyush Agrawal పేరుతో ఉంది. CUL. Sir, you got the host.
Yeah, I got the host. So yes I will share. Yeah, now, Jai Hind everyone. Thank you, Dr. Venkatesh, for a nice intro of mine. But today, most important thing we have which is lined up is the leadership lessons from military. He ended up his little intro with a quote from Indra Nooyi, talking that how do you define leadership? Leadership is something which is, I would say, undefinable. Everybody has his own styles. Lot of management gurus have defined leadership in different ways. Some call it autocratic style. Some call it different. Just admit some people waiting. Okay, yeah. So we have people across from north to south today in this session, and there are a whole lot of them on the Facebook link also who have joined in. I welcome them, and I thank Gates Institute for giving me this opportunity to interact with all these people. They're all young and dynamic people, all are warriors, and I shall be taking today's talk based on my personal, more or less on my personal experience in more than good about 2 to 3 decades in the armed forces. I've been fortunate to be part of 99 Kargil War, and most of my anecdotes or lessons would be drawn from there, and obviously the preceding period and the subsequent period too. Now these things are applicable, very much applicable in corporate world, in our personal life, even when we do day-to-day routine functioning. So let us begin with the first thing, that is mission. We'll talk about mission. Now, why I'm talking about mission? Because mission is the first thing when we start any operation. Operation means anything we want to do in life, be it a part of an organization, be it some people are joining in. I'm just admitting them all. Okay. So we start the time, in the army, we start the things dot on time. Latecomers are always there in every organization, so it doesn't matter. Two participants raised hands. We'll see what is a query subsequently. Okay. So mission is something which sets your direction right. Everywhere you've got to have a mission, whether it is, I said, in a corporate world, in life.
So excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, there is a message you to record this. Kindly accept that, sir.
Okay, I will just record it. Just one sec. Record on cloud, na?
Yeah.
Okay, I will record it on cloud. Connecting to cloud server.
Yeah, it's recording, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it is recording.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So thanks to technology, we are able to connect to so many people from across the board, and we can record it also for subsequent viewing. That is a great thing. Hopefully in India also we are able to develop some equally matching and a good app like Zoom in very in a short while. Okay, so now getting back to my talk, today's talk, mission is something which is very important, and mission sets your agenda for the day. And today's mission, of course, is to tell us to the way we function in armed forces and how that can be applicable in our real life. Now, on this same slide, this gentleman you see standing, this picture is 21 years old, more than 21 years old. And this picture has a, I'll just use a little bit of annotation. I'll use a pen. So this particular thing, what you see is a road. It is not so narrow nowadays, but 21 years back, in 99, way back, prior to that, it was a very single vehicle lane called National Highway 1 Alpha. And this was the one which was being eyed upon by Pakistanis. Temperatures, conditions, generally all of us are well aware. Temperatures were in minuses, and I was also somewhere around that area. So obviously, initially we had a lot of ambiguity, which I'll be talking about a little later. No clarity whether it is Pakistani terrorists who have entered. In fact, initially we were even taken by surprise. We all know about this particular thing. So this was the particular road which was to be guarded, because enemy wanted to cut off this road so that your Leh-Ladakh region gets separated. So the mission obviously was to safeguard this access. Okay, so mission becomes most important thing, and then all things subsequently fall in place. Okay, this gentleman you see is yours truly in the same picture. About 21 years younger from now onwards. Okay, so a lot of snow, everything is there. People who have traveled, I believe Dr. Venkatesh has said that he is born in 92 BH. This area he would have seen sometime in life. Okay, and quite bad, quite tough. Okay. Yeah. So I will come to the next thing, and after mission we will move to the next part. That is, yes. So once the mission gets over, leadership, when we talk about leadership, I just said has many facets. It could be centralized, it could be an authoritarian command, it could be, a democratic way of functioning. A lot of people have defined it in different ways, but I would say there's no piecemeal or a set definition to what is leadership. What suits you? Like he said, Indra Nui's example, which get your mission accomplished, that is what is leadership. So in armed forces, now we get back to in armed forces, which can be replicated or applied. We have a challenge, or not a challenge exactly, we have a centralized versus decentralized. This is a common debate which all the management students, all the corporate, whether we should be very centralized kind of a thing, or it should be a more of a decentralized thing. Now, how we function in armed forces is, till the final call is taken, till the final decision is taken, we remain in a very decentralized mode. That means you're open to discussions, you're open to suggestions. In the planning stage, you have to be decentralized. Once your mission, your plan, and your way of doing things has been formulated, it becomes more centralized. Like in recent times, a lot of people have seen in the country during this tough times of Corona, Prime Minister comes, he gives instructions. But I'm sure he has his core team of professionals of varied experiences with varied inputs, data, who work, who give their inputs. And after everything has been done, the commander or the leader takes a final call or the decision. And thereafter, from decentralization, things move to, I'll just use pen again. From decentralization, things move to centralized system. So this is my core team, and we discussed whatever was the mission. You call the important people, and every organization has a lot of core people. You have to trust them, you have to train them, and you have to make them leaders at different level. That is, we'll again be talking about how we train them and how we can make leaders, and that is what is the leadership all about. So now let us move to the next part. That is, the next principle is everyone is very important. I'll give you an example. All of you would have seen a tank. It's a huge machine weighing about 50 tons, thick iron, a lot of technology. It has got huge amount of firepower. It can traverse different kind of terrain. It can go into deserts. It can go on in water. I mean, it is considered as formidable form of a weapon system. It is a system in itself. Weighs about 50 tons. But it has a very small little component that is called the main gun, and main gun important component is the firing pin, which weighs just about a couple of grams. Now you can imagine if that firing pin gets broken, this particular piece of 50 tons is nothing but a big buffalo. It can't do anything. Everything, smallest of the thing. So in any organization, every person, everything is very important. Now in this picture, what you see is there's a fellow. A lot of people are joining in and it is distracting me again and again. Okay, now let me take this pen again. Yeah, here it is. This fellow, you see fully grazing grass called mule. Mule GS, General Service. Now, there are a lot of stories about mule. In fact, in Indian Army is the only army which has even given a gallantry award to a mule in 1965 war. For having gone into, it was captured by the Pakistanis, and at the right time that mule came back to India carrying 2 machine guns from Pakistan. Imagine. So mules can also be very loyal, and there's in ASCMS, they have a kind of a plaque put in Bangalore in officers mess about that particular mule. who was awarded equivalent to Mahavir Chakra for taking this kind of a bravery. Not Mahavir Chakra, but equivalent to Mahavir Chakra. Now, even in this picture, you see we are all preparing, and this is again yours truly, and this is one of my team with weapons and other things. But this fellow is most important. No, he's not bothered about war. He is ready to go, carrying our ammunition, carrying a bit of luggage, till as long as he can take it. So we had to move because we did not have a lot of information. So every person in the organization, we must identify these people in our organization who are very important to all of us. Normally, when we are going up the ladder, we are in the organization, we only look towards our bosses. We only look to the people who are in our chain of command, and eventually forget people who do not matter to us. But remember, these people who are so-called do not matter to us actually are the most important thing. When we see, like I gave you the example of tank, if you don't care about, if you don't have a spare firing pin, and during the battlefield, the firing pin gets broken or damaged, your entire skills, your entire training would go waste to the peril of your life. So that is why we must ensure and that every person in your organization who is effective, who is even unimportant, take care of him, look after him. There are a lot of leaders in this organization, some people from schools also. So even in school, a peon, a person who is cleaning the thing, who is helping out, even a computer operator, could be a very important person in any organization. Take care of them. This is one of the very important lessons we learned from the armed forces. In armed forces, we do take care of even the animals and even the dogs. We have a dog squad. We are very important, especially during counter-insurgency roles for sniffing, you can say, IDs and various other things. So they're very important. We must take care of them, train them, and even promote them when required. So with this, I come to the next part. This is something which is typical of armed forces. The heading says tolerance for ambiguity. Now, the unfortunate part here is that in a Zoom session, it is not so interactive. We can't make it interactive because there are so many people, and if we start this thing. However, it is more of a one-way traffic. I am speaking. I really cannot feel the pulse of the audience, but nonetheless, I presume and assume that they are understanding whatever I am saying. Okay. So now this is something which is very typical of armed forces. That is tolerance for ambiguity. Now this photograph again is 21 years old. This is my team. This is my team which is moving through Dras Valley. And this is moving through Dras Valley. You see such beautiful big valley we are going through, looking for the enemy. Now, what is tolerance for ambiguity? In armed forces or in any organization, there are uncertain times. There is a lot of unpredictability. There is something which is fear of unknown. You do not know what you're doing, and you are actually cut off. You are in a kind of an island, marooned in an island, without even knowing what is happening to your left, to your right, to your top, to your bottom. So you have to take your own calls, your own decisions. And that is what is the role of leader is, to create leaders, to develop more and more leaders who have this tolerance for ambiguity. If you cannot create leaders, you will not be successful. We have seen in armed forces, in recent times, even anywhere, the missions are led by young officers. And the young officers are barely the age ranging from 20 to 25. They are carrying operations. They are leading men into war. They are leading men into operations. Even recently, we have seen all of you have seen when we are busy with Corona and COVID, a couple of soldiers laid down their lives in Bandipura. Colonel Ashutosh Sharma, Major Anuj Nair, Anuj Sood, sorry. Now this young man, a very dynamic young man who had done his training from NDA, who had even done his MTech, being an infantry officer, laid down his life, a highly professional soldier, but that is part of our duty. You don't go into the battlefield to lay down your life, but you go to the battlefield to kill the enemy. So that should be the thing. So how do you kill the enemy? When you are able to take decisions, on ground decisions. You have to have tolerance for ambiguity, and something like this, we'll talk little more when we come to the next thing. Now, in any organization, resources are never enough. They're not enough. And it is a leader's job to optimize the resources. That is what is when we call in armed forces tactics. Enemy also has weapons. You also have weapons. He, in fact, at times has better weapons, large quantity of ammunition, large or more number of resources. But by your optimization, by your innovation, by your thinking, by your strategizing things, you are able to overcome your enemy and defeat him. We can't forget 1971, when we were able to defeat, or we had 93,000 soldiers of Pakistan Army surrendering to Indian Army. They had parity. There are numerous things which I can quote, which are numerous stories from armed forces where with much lesser resources, with great determination, one could overcome and defeat the enemy. Now, before I come ahead, I'll just explain to you what is this picture about. When we are moving, there are places where you had these flowing riverlets, or in army language, we call it nalas. They are not typical nalas, with what you see in your cities. They are cold water streams, and you have to cross them. And crossing them at times, if you wade through them, you will wet your shoes and your other things. So you need to make some kind of a makeshift bridge. This is like what we say, necessity is the mother of invention. So we created these. So a whole lot of places in any organization, we need to have innovators. And when we say innovators, I say Hanumanji. We have been watching during this lockdown, some of us have watched Ramayana. Every organization needs a Hanumanji. He is the one who is loyal. He is the one who is the right-hand man of the commander or the leader. He is the one who is a troubleshooter. Wherever problem is there, you tell him, okay, Ramayana, Hanumanji, please do this. And we have seen the example when they created Ram Setu. The Ram Setu was created by improvisation. They did not have resources, but they tried to find out some kind of stones which could put in. They used an army of monkeys or Vanar Sena to build those resources. So everywhere you need to have your minds working. Today we say a small country, I'll give you about improvisation and innovation. This should be encouraged in any organization. Take the example of Israel, a country which is just the size of Mizoram, with a population of about 8 million or 9 millions. Not even, we can say the one-third the population of Delhi. Today has the finest military and technical manufacturing resources. And why they have been successful is only because of their encouragement towards R&D, towards innovation. So if in today's environment, we need to succeed, we need to encourage innovation, improvisation. And this is the hallmark. And this particular thing, if we do it wherever we are, even at homes, even in organizations, in schools, colleges, anywhere, we must encourage innovations and improvisation. This is going to be something which makes your mind fertile and gives a lot of sense of belongingness to the people whom you command. So every organization, even in armed forces, we do lots and lots of improvisation, and this helps us. Okay, I believe that some of you are giving thumbs up about Hanumanji. Yes, we need Hanumanji in every organization. Now, see, the local resources are something which is very important. Every time we cannot talk about something getting imported or coming from somewhere else. Even our Prime Minister talked about Atmanirbhar. Yes, we had a mule who could carry a lot of our resources, provisions, logistics, but not enough. We need to be dependent. We need to be Atmanirbhar. And at times, look for local resources. We have talked about go vocal for local. This is a slide. We found some local shepherds. They are helpful to give you information. They were helpful to give us little hot tea. You see my soldier, again I'll take the pen, cooking and taking some help of their local resources. Give some rest, some hot tea. The local resource is always very important. So now we, of course, we are realizing it in this Corona time that how important is a local thing. So very important for all of us, improvise with local flavor, with local this thing. Be Atmanirbhar, and that is what, yes, certainly over a period of time in armed forces, as far as our weapons are concerned, we had a lot of dependency on Russians. Then subsequently we started buying from America and other countries. But now we are shifting to your locally made, that is our country made, not desi. When we say desi, the mind goes, desi means something which is rustic, which is not good, which is below par, which is not state of art. But let me tell you, these desi things are very, very good. Now, I'll give you an example. My regiment is a Bofors unit, which is Bofors, the same gun which created havoc in 99 war. Highly technical, but we bought it in 1987 from Sweden. There are certain parts, as per the terms of conditions or initial MOU, we could not manufacture or make on our own. And in the process, some parts would get damaged, so we would have to carry out global tendering, and that process would involve a lot of things. And for so many days, our artillery guns would remain not operational. So what we did in my regiment, my parent regiment is of Khalsas, and I told them we have to find your some kind of innovation or local this thing. So some of them said, sir, no problem. In Punjab, towards Malerkotla and towards Bassi, we have places where they can even make local parts of anything. You give us a sample and within no time we'll bring it. So I said, okay, try it. He went, he created the same part from the recoil system, got it back, we fitted it and we fired it, it worked perfectly. Cost just about 1,000 rupees. Whereas the global tendering, it was costing more than $1,000. So we saved, it costed much, much lesser. So when you go desi, when you rely on your own resources, remember one thing, when you buy an aircraft or a submarine or a ship from any country, you are paying one for his own country. That means you are paying twice the price. We have seen when we work in home, whether it is ISRO, whether it is mission on Mars, we are able to do things much cheaper and much more cost effective, and we know the in things. We know in times of failure, we know in times of crisis where we can get it, we can scale it up, we can manufacture it in home. So local is very important. So coming to the next part is moving up. Now this is, we are gaining some height, moving up. Now moving up in our parlance is going up the summit with luggage, with weight. So by this time we had nearly discarded or the mules, we are going up this. But remember, in any organization, when we say moving up, when we talk about moving up is we talk about promotions. Going up in the organization, it is not easy. When you are sitting down below and when you look up to people who have gone up in the organization, you feel that he is enjoying, he has got all the privileges, uske paas to sab kuch hai. And they say that from down, when you look up, monkeys climb the ladder, they look up, they see only the backside of the people, And from top, you look down, you see the smiling faces. So going up gives you a lot of responsibility, but going up has its advantages. When you are up, you can solve a lot of problems. You can look after people. You have you are at the vantage point. You are at a height where you know more. You have more access to information, and therefore your information should be used to help out people, to grow the organization, to improve its bottom lines. Okay, I will go a little faster because, okay, now in any organization, now what we see in this valley is just a beautiful mountains, nothing much you can see except the beautiful, very nice scenic beauty. This is again the picture of Dras Valley from a different angle. But in the same picture, you can't see, but we could see the enemy hiding. They are hiding in bunkers. And why I mentioned two enemies is because of the fact that in these conditions, one of the enemy is your weather, and the other enemy is, of course, the main enemy. So similarly, in organizations, you have challenges. You have to have an eye for detail. You have to have an eye for detail. That is what is professionalism. A leader must be, when he goes up, I talked just in a previous slide, that a leader he's sitting at a vantage point. He's sitting at a height. He has more access to information. He can help out people. Similarly, he has to have an eye for the detail. He cannot just be enjoying his perks, privileges, which he does not. So if you do not identify your challenges, if you do not react and act in time, you're going to be in trouble. So now, when we talk of the current scenario, the country has been through lockdown. There's a kind of a future is uncertain. You do not know what is going to happen next month, in next 2 months. So you have to be ready for challenges. You have to identify various opportunities. This is what is very important in any organization. I found a lot of people, like we all know that before Corona thing happened, there were no PPE kit manufactured in India. But now everybody think of different things. What can be done? What are challenges which are coming in our way? And identify them and work accordingly. Okay, so we move to the next one. Coming to the team. This is my team in May 99. Now there's something which is very important, there's nothing which inspires your troops more than this, that when you lead from front, when you appear to be giving your men, your team a direction, when they can have trust and faith in you. And this is what is here. I am right in the middle of them. Even I think I'm not even holding my AK at this time. So you need to instill faith and trust by leading them in front, leading by example. In the same picture, I show you something which you can identify. These are bunkers on heights, which have a pothole or a loophole from where the enemy can fire at you. Of course, these have been cleared and there's no enemy in these. Okay, so this is light machine gun and various other equipment being carried by my troops. Okay, so you need to be leader, and when we say leader, leader has to have a whole lot of dimension to his personality. Everyone cannot have everything, but what are these dimensions? We'll be talking now. Now, results. Results are as important as efforts. When you make efforts, you are sure to get results. Yes, at times in your first go, you may not get results. You feel disappointed. You feel that your efforts have gone wasted. But when you carry out mid-course correction, you certainly get. I will take the questions towards the end. Some people have raised hands. I will just take it in the end. We'll have the interactive session. And what you see in this picture are these Pakistani terrorists, and nothing inspires you, nothing can give you more happiness then your results. Again, I am there with my team. They're all carrying weapons and tough times. Okay. So you need to have, I'm not going into operational part, but results are very important. Results will give you, they're more important than perks, privileges, salary, money, rewards, results of any organization. And that is what the leader can inspire in his team, that yes, if you are getting results, people are ready to work 24/7 into 365. That's how we work. Then you can work on sandwiches. You don't really feel sleepy. You don't feel bored. You don't feel anything. If the leader's personality is such that it can inspire its team to give results, and there's nothing more inspiring than results. Okay, next. This is another, this is another picture of some more results of Pakistanis, which you really, when you send them, it gives you a lot of happiness because they are the ones who would have created trouble for your country. I already talked about leading from front. There's nothing more, like we see in many organizations, the leaders hide, or leaders, when things go wrong, they are not seen, they are not visible. A good leader always delegates responsibility, but has a kind of a centralized command. When things go right, he gives the credit to his team. This is the lesson which we must carry home. Jab acha hota hai, when you get success, say it is because of your team. They are the ones who were leading you to the battle. It was a team effort. When things go wrong, do not pass on the blame to them. Don't say कि ये उसकी वजह से हुआ था, ये उसकी वजह से हुआ. That is not leader-like. That is more politician-like. That's what politicians do. We are not politicians. We are leaders. We must take the blame when things go wrong. We must give the credit when things go right. As long as you're doing this, you're doing fine. Remember this Guru Mantra. Everyone, if you're doing this, things will be good. You will not be found wanting in your mission, in your task, in your achievements. Now, another thing, when we talk of leaders' personality, he has to put on many hats. Now, I'll just explain this picture. The person who is killed was a dreaded terrorist. Now, this fellow are his relatives. This is a fellow of my team. This is another picture not linked to the Kargil war, it's subsequent picture in Gandharbal district. Now this fellow has been shot down. His cousins, nephew, who are not terrorists, who are good people, when the body was, in those days we used to hand over the body of dead terrorists to the family. They were crying. The soldier of my team goes and consoles them. He hugs them. This guy was not a good fellow. He has been killed. We are doing our job. These guys are good. We need to hug them. We need to console them. They are not bad. Everyone is not this thing. So this is one of the hats, compassion. This is something which is very typical, which is very unique part of armed forces. When something goes wrong, so leader has to have many hats. He has to be tough at times. He has to be this thing. Now, another picture, this is man with a golden heart. Challenges we'll be talking about. Somebody asked on the Facebook, what are the challenges? We'll be talking about challenges a little later. Okay. So again, good times and bad times. Armed forces are ready for bad times. That is a war situation. Now we see a lot of things happening in Ladakh, a lot of things happening in Galwan Valley. Chinese troubling us at this critical time. Doesn't matter. We are ready. Let them come in. Let them try. Any misadventure, they'll get it nice and proper in the way they deserve it. But good times, bad times are complementary. There are organizations, there are schools, there are institutions. When you have fantastic admission, things are going hunky-dory, things are going fine. But then there are tough times. Your bottom lines are shrinking. You have people leaving your organization. Find out what is the reason, what are the challenges, why things are going wrong. Carry out mid-course correction. जरूरत है हमें दोनों टाइम को समझने की. Normally they say that when you are in a good time, you forget the bad times. सुख में सुमरन सब करें. But it is very important that we must be ready for the bad times. Nobody wants to face it. Nobody wants to believe that we are going to have tough times. But yes, you got to be prepared. बहुत जरूरत है हमें उन खराब दिनों के लिए. Now, investment in the right time. I'm going to share a very interesting story with this particular picture. A soldier shaking hand with young kids in Kashmir. Same young people, when they grow up, he may be telling him, when you grow up, please do not pelt stones at me. मेरे ऊपर पत्थर मत फेंकना. I'm doing my job. I'm doing my duty. But what I'm going to talk about is an investment at the right time. Now, this particular handshake, I would say it's an investment. Some people will wonder कि investment कैसे हुआ? ये तो normal handshake है. Of course, nowadays we don't handshake in times of corona. We just wave and do namaskar or do this thing. But this is a much older picture. Now these fellows, when they develop trust, this is the story of, again, I'm talking of the year 2000, April. I'll just tell you in a very brief nutshell. There was a very dreaded terrorist, a group of terrorists led by a local commander who had got trained in Pakistan with a name called Shamsher Khan. He had Hamid Lali and some more fellows working with him. Very dreaded and so-called not visible. I had some inkling one day, some input that he's around, he's come back. There used to be hardened saying that he's in Pakistan or something. So I called my team. We went for an operation en route. There was a house, old dilapidated house, which was his mother. His mother used to stay in that house. We entered that house. The mother said, okay, she is this Shamsher Khan has gone to Pakistan. वो तो बहुत साल से आया नहीं, 8 साल से वो तो मर गया है, जिंदा है, मेरे को नहीं पता. So I was just talking to her, but while I was talking to her, I was also scanning the house. As I was seeing the house in the attic, I saw a shoebox. Now again, I would say that the army training teaches you for eye for detail. So I asked one of my men, उस जूते के डब्बे को नीचे लेके आओ. So it was a brand new shoebox. The moment shoebox was opened, there was an old sports shoe, torn kind of a shoe kept inside it. Typical Indian habit, we don't throw things when they are torn also. उसको भी हम रखते हैं कि शायद फिर कभी काम आए. उस नए जूते के डब्बे में, the new box, the old shoe was kept, and I could make out with the shoe marking that that box is new and he is somewhere around. So we walked inside the village. As I was going, I saw an eerie silence, and your sixth sense could tell that things are not right. People wishing, people saying Jai Hind, locals, and doing their work, trying to avoid eye contact. So the pulse of the thing could be seen. Now, in this thing, I used to have a bulletproof wherein there were pouches in front. And the pouches I used to carry a lot of sweets, which sometimes I used to have it while walking, while going for operations. And en route, children would be there, I would just distribute some sweets to them. Now, that sweet would cost just hardly 50 paisa, 1 rupee. In those days, I'm talking of 99, 98, in that period. But that 1 rupee, 2 rupee investment was worth more than millions of rupees we would have spent in getting some kind of end. We have to spend that much of money in getting hard intelligence. We need satellite imageries, we need your informers, we need a whole lot of UAVs. Nowadays, we use them. But that 1 rupee thing was as good as a million rupees or thousands and thousands of rupees worth of information. So these small little kids, one of them walked up to me, I asked him कि और सब ठीक है, uncle toffee दिया, toffee देने के बाद उससे पूछा कि शमशेर आया, his skin became white. They are very fair, but white, गोरे चिट्टे, एकदम he was little shocked. He says कि आया है. I said बताओ किधर है? He said कि आप उसको मत बताना कि मैंने बताया, नहीं तो वो मेरे को मार देगा. I was smiling कि he will not be left to kill you. By the end of that, after a couple of hours, he would have been at his right place. So very discreetly he pointed towards a house, and we carried out a successful operation in that house without even a single casualty to my troops, killing all 3 terrorists in that operation, killing Shamsher Khan and his 2 more terrorists. So investment at the right time pays. Invest in your team, invest in your fellows. If you pay them, if you train them, give them leave to sabbaticals, have workshops, have training. If you train them right time, they're going to, they'll always be return on investment. Many times we feel that it may go wasted. He may just switch the organization. Doesn't matter. A lot of organizations, good organizations, spend money in training and investing their team, their people. Okay, coming to the next thing, compassion versus passion. Now, compassion, when we say is sahanbhuti, they are. Passion is genuine. The words are this thing, you need to have compassion. Any leader has to have passion for things, for mission, but compassion towards his team, towards his assignment, towards his work. He should not be, when he's achieving his goals, when he's working towards the organizational goals, he has to be compassionate. At times, we say ki niyam ke anusar, as per rule, as per this. Sometimes we have to go beyond rules. Rules are made to make life easy and not difficult. Rules should be guidelines. Rules should be there to make sure that your organization flourishes. Your work is achieved, your mission is achieved. And the key component of your mission are your human beings, human resource. So be compassionate. In our passion to achieve something, do not miss on compassion. In armed forces, we are very, very compassionate. Even towards civilians when we are doing aid to civil authority or anything, but within an organization. If somebody needs us, we are always there as a leader. Now, something which is very important. This picture is very interesting. The soldier, this with his feet, but look, more important than his feet. This is a common picture. This is something which is very interesting, but see his smiling face. What does it mean? That this particular thing, what you see on this thing is part of the job. Doesn't matter if I have blisters, if my feet have become swollen, red, if I get injured. This smile can only come when we love our work. We need to love. We got to love our work. We don't have any choice. The moment you start loving your work, that work will become a hobby. It will become your passion. You will not feel bored. You will not look towards clock. कि अच्छा time हो गया, अपना tiffin उठाया, bag उठाया, चलो. You start loving your work. You will feel that you get much more energy. You are energetic, and your loving your work will take you up also. Going up will become easier. When we get up in the morning, if we don't get up fresh, we are tired, yo, kaam pe jana hai, and we are worried, certainly it puts you down. But try getting up in the morning, remain excited, remain energetic, start loving your work from today. And if you're not loving it, change it. That means you're not at the right place. Love your work. Whatever work you're doing, whether you are teaching, whether you're doing business, whether you are just, I see in my organization itself, I find one old lady who does, I talk to her every day. She is doing grooming, she's doing pocha, and my organization, cleaning, housekeeping kind of a thing. And I see she comes, she loves that, even that grooming and this thing, even there's a spot on the ground, she will rub it with some kind of a piece of metal or something, will ensure that after she leaves the floor, you can see her face into it. In armed forces, my helper would polish my shoes when during peace stations. I mean, this is nothing very this thing. He would, it is part of the British legacy we followed. But he would ensure that it is my fellows would help me, or whatever work we are doing. When you start loving it, I mean, you just enjoy it. You don't get tired. And that is something which we learn from armed forces. We love our organization. We love our every bit of it. We can crib. Cribbing is our birthright, but love your work. This is going to take you to places. Okay. And next thing is gratitude. Of course, this is a picture of a fallen soldier during the duty. Unfortunately, wrapped up in a tricolor. Okay, we have no words. We keep moving, but we must pay gratitude to people who have helped us go up in our life. Normally, when we go up, when we move forward, we never look back. There's a way also. You say that you don't look back. Don't look back at the negative things which have happened. But suddenly, please stop annotating. Somebody was doing it, or I'll have to just disable participant invitation. Okay. We need to be having gratitude to people, those who have helped us all through. Your teachers, your professors, your bosses, your subordinates, your peers, your friends, your parents, everybody. You close your eyes, think so many people have helped you reach wherever you are. Talk to them. Recognize their efforts. All of us think that what I am a self-made man. Very commonly heard in India. मैं खुद हूं अपने बलबूते पर. Nobody here is on his balbute. Let me tell you, nobody. There is no one in this universe who is on his own balbuta. There is nobody who is self-made. There are people who have helped him to reach that place. So have a word of gratitude for them. And I also suggest, I would request each one of you, since we are talking to so many people all across, whenever, once the lockdown gets over, visit war memorials. There is a national war memorial which was created so many years after independence. In recent times at Delhi, visit. Or a little Shahid Smarak which may be there in your town. Go and go and visit that. Look, read the names of those people who have laid down their lives protecting you. Okay, so it is very important to have the gratitude for the people who have helped you. And this is just as we are ending in the session. This is keep doing your work. Armed forces are always there to protect you. A leader should also be like this only. A leader should also be the silent protector of his men. Whether he is a CEO, CFO, CTO, any level, irrespective, whether you are a small team leader or a group leader, whether you are a principal or a class teacher, whether you are a professor or just a office superintendent, even if you have 4 people under you, you should be a silent protector to them. You should work to ensure that they feel that the leader is going to help them, leader is going to, in times of crisis, the leader will be there to protect them. With this, okay, now before we end, I am going to show you one little clip, and it is just about a 2 minutes clip. I am going to share my screen and show you a video clip, and this is going to summarize. This is from a bill. You can keep talking. You were able to see the video?
No, sir.
Oh, so there's some problem. I'll just do. I thought I was playing it. New share. One sec. एक second. कर. हाँ. Yeah. One sec. I'm just trying to share the video. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there, sir.
Yeah. Okay. वो तो फिलिंग है, मेरा तो आई नहीं रहा। Okay. Yeah, I'll just. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, it's audible, sir.
Yeah. So we just saw a little clip from a World War II movie, Saving Private Ryan. Tom Hanks, who was the commander of that little team. Most of you would have seen this movie. This clip is very inspiring about leadership, what we talked about it. How a leader, he had a fellow who everywhere, like what we, this particular clip would sum up what we talked about, everything today. And he takes the bullet on his chest. He does not lose hope. And finally, the Allies aircrafts come in and destroy the tanks. He even starts firing at the tank with a pistol. Pistol won't do. Pistol is something like you try to poke an elephant with a pencil. So it is something like that. That much effect it is going to have. And the subsequent thing is also very interesting. Those of you who would have seen. So in times of crisis, my final words are: in times of crisis, the true leadership potential comes out, and that is what each one of us should endeavor, should aim, should aspire at. No, Darya? Okay. So with this, gentlemen, I would come to an end to today's talk. And in case you have any questions, I've given some details of my email ID and mobile number also. And in case you have any questions, this is going to be an interactive session, and I would request Dr. Venkatesh to moderate the questions.
Sir, there are a couple of questions which have been put on the chat box.
Yeah.
So the first one is from Anudeep. He's saying, if everyone, is it audible, sir?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah. If everyone becomes leader, then who will be the followers?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Aim of leader is to make as many leaders as possible. A true leader is the one who creates leaders. Now this sounds very interesting. Leader in the hierarchy, there is a hierarchy in any organization. Like, let's talk, since I am from armed forces, I'll give you the example of armed forces. You have Chief of Army Staff. You think he's the senior most person? Chief of Army Staff. But over him, you have CDS, General Bipin Rawat. Over General Bipin Rawat, you have NSA. And that is, I'm talking at the highest level. You go down, you have army commanders, you have corps commanders, you have divisional commander. Down to the lowest person, you have a section commander who is just commanding a team of 10 people. So leadership is not restricted to the people whom you command. When we talk of leadership, it is not कि मेरे नीचे 1000 आदमी होने चाहिए तभी मैं leader हूँ. Even if you have 4 people under you, you are leader. A thing is that in any organization, there are multiple leaders, and even if you are at the bottommost level of that organization, after a couple of years, couple of time, when you add value to you, when you grow in your worth, you will certainly move up the ladder, and you will have people, more and more number of people, more number of resources, more number of responsibility, more authority coming under you. Next question, please.
Yeah. From Mohan says, in this pandemic situation, what will be your suggestion or advices to the school leaders about the safety and security?
Okay. School leaders, there are plenty today who are part of this session. Enough government directions, directives are issued. However, more than government directions and directives, it is a person on ground. That is what I said, tolerance for ambiguity. He has to see what is the condition which is best suited for him. After you have fulfilled the broad directions given by the government, which we are all aware, I'm not going to talk about these sanitizing and other things. It is a person on ground who will decide what is best in the best interest of my organization. So every school leader, wherever he is, he has to function the way he is. Of course, lives are more important. Education is also very important. Find ways and means, sir. Find ways how you can carry out social distancing. Meanwhile, if your area, like in armed forces today, we can say that we stay in a very sort of like those who are familiar, that men stay in a dormitory. They rub shoulders with each other. So social distancing may not be at times possible. But once you are sure that your organization has got nobody who's infected, they can rub shoulders. But in case you are suspicious, you have contact from outside, take care accordingly. So follow the government rules and take decisions at your level, wherever you are.
True, sir. Well said. And then one more question. It's from Karumanisa. She is asking, what is the important resource to a leader?
Important resource to a leader, he has to identify what are the resources. That is the most important thing of a leader, to identify what are the critical resources. Prioritize your resources. And I would say a trained subordinates, a team, human beings are the most valuable asset in any organization. Then you can have technological resources. Nowadays we are talking of technology. We even have robots, we have AI, artificial intelligence, we have money. Everything can come into resource. But I think since we are all human beings, we cannot undermine the value of human beings. Human beings happen to be the most precious resource in any organization.
There is one lady, Priyanka Bajpai.
Yes.
And her question is like, how to motivate ourselves in this pandemic situation where there is a threat of losing a job?
Threats should be converted into challenges. Improvise, innovate. First thing, now this is beyond this. Remain positive, do a lot of physical activity, follow the routine, and look for alternatives. Yes, there are fear of losing jobs, but if you are that important resource for any organization, be sure that nobody is going to. Every organization wants to come out of it. It is a phase. Why don't we take it that this is just a phase, good times and bad times. We talked about war and peace. Then next thing what you can do is sharpen your axe. All of you have read that Shiv Khera story. Sharpen your axe. Don't waste your time. Upgrade your skills. Be more valuable to your organization. Be more worthy of it. You will not lose your job. I can assure you. Yes.
There is a question from Padma Kiran. She is asking, what should be the approach when we are not clear about our goals?
Leader has to have the first thing. If she was part of my session or the webinar right from beginning, the first thing is the mission. You have to define your mission. Mission flows from vision, your organizational vision. Like the vision, every organization has this vision, then mission, and then you can have your goals and KRA, key result areas. You need to have KRAs, you need to have goals. Goals can be multiple. Goals can be short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals. But first you have to have vision. From vision flows the mission, and mission will give you your goals. Work on it. Think of it. What you're working for. Every organization, talk to your bosses. If you're the boss, make sure that your organization has clarity. It cannot be vague. It cannot be something, in case there is something vague which is not clear, you need to clear the dust. Yes.
So there is a question from Shabana. How to bring out the best from our team when they are unwilling to do that?
This is what was the topic of the day. If
yes.
You make sure, lead by example, personal example. There is nobody who is unwilling. If you lead by example, why should people be unwilling? If you put reason in their mind, if you are compassionate, if you know what they are working for, if the mission is right, why should be and you're getting the results? Why should you be demotivated? Yes, it is a responsibility of the leader to ensure motivation, inspiration of his team stays at a good level. It is very important. Good times, bad times, no problems. But yes, certainly you need to keep your team motivated. Find out, talk to them, communicate with them, why they are demotivated. It could be somebody's personal problem. If you can help out, why not help him out? If it is financial problem, it is sometimes we are more demotivated due to unknown future, worrying about what is going to happen, which may not happen actually. हमें लगता है ऐसा होगा हमारे साथ, हमें नौकरी से निकाल देंगे, तनख्वाह कट जाएगी, ये होगा, वो होगा. The future is uncertain, and because of that we remain worried and do not give our 100%. So it is very important that we need to be future proof. We need to gear up to face the challenges of future. Yes.
Yeah, there's a gentleman, Nadish Gupta. He is asking like all people are precious resource in my school, and how to differentiate, if at all we have to, who is more precious?
This is a on-ground leadership question. See, everyone is precious, but what task, specific task a person, this is another task of a leader to identify round peg and square hole. Round peg will not fit in the square hole. It is very important that you know the right person, right for the right job. Right job, right person, right time. Remember this. So every person is important. Like when you drive a car, Every component is important, but you know that there are certain things which are more important than others. Like if your paint gets scratched, it may not be that important. A light gets broken, ठीक है, काम चलेगा, आप ठीक करा लोगे. But if the engine, the critical part gets damaged, you need to quickly get it repaired, replace, or ensure that it is in fighting shape. So you need to identify such people in your organization. Yes.
Yeah, name is unknown, but he's asking how to get free from financial fear in Army's way.
Financial fear.
Over? Yeah.
Army, we work, our biggest earnings is people. We don't really, most people in armed forces are really not worried about salaries, awards. Do you think all these fellows who have got Paramveer Chakras, Mahavir Chakras, actually fought for Mahavir Chakras or Paramveer Chakras? It's a teamwork. So you really, when you are in the battlefield, you don't even know whether you're going to come back alive, whether you're in J&K. Do you think you are really bothered about money and this thing? So when you are focused about your task, हमारे तो हिंदू सनातन धर्म में भी ये कहा गया है कि आप अपना काम करें, सरस्वती जी की पूजा करें, लक्ष्मी जी अपने आप आएंगी. So money will follow. You become worthy of it. Money should not be the driving. It is a byproduct of your work. So आप काम करिए, पैसा आएगा, uncertainty होगी, planning करिए थोड़ा बहुत, create more resources for yourself. Of course, everybody should work for that. But that undue fear of money or salary and financial crisis. And remember, one more thing. We have aped the Western world in our system. Earlier, we used to save and then spend. Now we spend and then we pay EMIs. So there's a little functioning. Yes, the financial people will say that EMI is the best thing, but now they will also be quiet that you must अपनी पैर उतने ही बढ़ाने चाहिए जितनी हमारी चद्दर लंबी होती है. So take care of your finances.
Yeah. So we are even getting a questions from Facebook. Mr. Ishwar,
Yes.
He is asking, like, how can we identify ourselves that I can be a leader or not?
Identify, trust yourself. Trust yourself, you are a leader. Okay, we'll have a separate session. We are overshooting our time today. We'll have a separate session, how to bring out the leader in you. How to bring out. Certainly, I would, whether through Gates, remain in touch with us. We'll surely, this is a very good thing. I'm going to talk about it. It is going to be not a 1 minute or 30 seconds answer. It is going to be a good, bring the leader in you, bring out the leader in you. We are going to talk of it. But think of you as a leader today. Take responsibility. Be accountable. You will be a leader.
So, just a couple of questions before we wind it up. It is from Ravi Shankar. As a leader, does we have to focus on self-motivation of subordinate or being autocratic?
Motivation, leadership is a package. You can't focus on one thing. You have numerous corners to it, not four, numerous. It's a package. It's a package deal. You have to be compassionate. You have to be motivated. You have to be self-inspiring. You have to be inspired and motivated yourself. The worst thing which can happen to an organization is a demotivated leader. So you need to charge your batteries. Like what happens, we go home, हम अपना मोबाइल पे काम करते हैं और फिर उसको चार्जिंग पे लगाते हैं, फिर वो चार्ज अप हो जाता है. Similarly, we need to read, we need to have inspirations, we need to meditate, we need to upgrade our skills, we need to be valuable. So once we are motivated, your team will be motivated. Remember it. As a leader, you have to be motivated. You can't go whining. You can't be demotivated, talking ill about the organization, talking ill about everything, seeing doomsday all around you, being pessimistic कि सब तरफ ये होने वाला है, वक्त तो मर जाएंगे, कट जाएंगे, लुट जाएंगे. No, that is not the way a leader functions. So you remain motivated, your team will be motivated. Yes.
So one more from Sonalika Singh. She is telling, if I'm earning well and having a good position in my organization, so but still my soul is not satisfied. She is in a very good position, but she is not satisfied.
Yeah.
What to do? What to do?
She should start spending money. She'll feel satisfied on people. She should start training people, helping out people, give her a lot of satisfaction. If she's in a good position, don't leave it in this critical crisis time. Be there, become more valuable to the organization. If you leave it, I would not suggest switch, because switching at this critical time may not be a good idea. Keep earning. Earning is important. Use that money in the right direction. Help out people. Train them. Don't dole out money to people. Train them. The worst thing which we can do is give alms and give money to poor people. No, that is not the way. Make them more, add value to them. Train them, teach them, do whatever you want to them. That will give you a lot of satisfaction. Find time for yourself and pursue a lot of other activities. Good.
Yes, Bhavna, she is asking, sir, as a teacher, how can we tolerate the parents' interference while conducting online classes? Gratitude sometimes is not there for teachers.
Yes, these are the challenges. These are the challenges of any Zoom classes. Parents will interfere. The teacher has to be properly dressed, right time. Like today, I was a host. At numerous times, I was admitting people continuously. I have come on time, before time, ready for the seminar. So gates, people were there since morning, since couple of days. They have been working on this webinar. In fact, we had planned earlier, thanks to, or not thanks exactly, but because of Corona, I am taking this session from my place and everybody is at his own place. We had planned to come to Vijayawada and take this session, interactive session. Of course, once we get over it, I will come over there again. But let me tell you, yes, this is a challenge. Parents or anybody on the other side is a challenge. He has option. He has excuses, that poor network traffic, poor connectivity. In fact, there was a joke which was going around. The professor asked the student, why you are late? Sir, I was in the traffic. So he asked you, how come you were on traffic on the Zoom? Sir, it was network traffic. So these are the challenges. This is just a makeshift arrangement. I am sure man is a social being. Till such time we do not have the physical classroom, it is just a makeshift arrangement. All the stakeholders, the parents, the teachers, the students have to realize that it's a makeshift arrangement. It is not a replacement of physical interactive classrooms or sessions and seminars. Yes, please, sir.
Yeah, there's lady Priyanka. She is asking, as per your experience, what will be the position of current heated standoffs between India and China?
Long talk. We will come out winner. Be with your nation. Identify those people who ask questions and raise doubts on own country's ability. We will come out winner. Not to worry. Armed forces are fully geared. They are focused. They know their job. Yes, please.
Yeah, Sanjeev Kumar, he is asking, like, what kind of leaders psychologically required for our armed forces?
You have to be all round. There's nothing special, but yes, you have to be. One thing we have not talked. Sometime later we'll talk about national character and character building. If you have worked on it right from beginning in your schooling, in your college days, something which is it is very close to my heart. It'll take time. So today we are not discuss on this. We need to work on national character and character building. If your character, if you are right, if you are doing the right things, you are. I mean, that is what is the armed forces. We have people not coming. We are Indians only in armed forces. We have no people from China, made in China, or made in US, or made in Russia in armed forces. They are all pure Desi. So all people with sound mind, healthy body, and good level of motivation are there. And even if you're not there in armed forces, people behind the soldiers, they say, you should always be behind your forge, your military. If you doubt them, go and stand in front of them. Dare to stand in front of them. Okay.
Yeah, well said, sir. Ramandeep Kaush is asking, why in our services also, the employees are not motivated by their leaders and they are biased. Many leaders and managers tend to pick their favorites.
Human angle, everywhere there's a human being, there'll be human angle. There'll be a little bit of favoritism. And favoritism, of course, is not a good trait of a good leader. Good, bad leaders are always there. You should become a good leader. You should become a good leader. And don't worry, people are motivated. If a huge army or a service a small percentage is dissatisfied, there must be some reason. If we can identify, help them out, good. Otherwise, focus on the larger population. Yes.
So one more question. Is anger and time management is important to become a successful leader? Anger and time management, both are contradictory, but still.
Yes, anger is, if channelized in the right direction, can fetch you a lot of results. You should be angry to achieve good things. If you are happy-go-lucky, जो हो रहा है चलने दो, जो हुआ था ठीक है, जो होगा, है ना, complacency बहुत बढ़िया हो रहा है, it will not work. You have to be angry. Angry means passion, genuine. But short temper, anger and temper are two different things. You should not be short tempered. You should not be just this. So remain cool, and of course time management is very important. Without time management, things don't work. You have to manage your time because you have only 24 hours a day. How well you can do, that is this thing. Don't shout at people. Okay.
Yeah, we got a question from the Facebook. Is asking, in every organization, people do have traits. Now, how to change them in the situations?
Change people.
Traits, the traits.
Don't change. You are motivate them. They will change themselves. Like if you want to change people, you can't. You change yourself. The worst thing you can do is to try to change somebody. Motivate him. He will change himself. Only person you can change yourself is you yourself. So today when we have talked, I have not tried to change you. You have to change yourself. You have to. This is something. So don't change anybody. He will change himself. Guide him, train him. It is important that you guide him and train him. But if you try changing somebody, it will not work. He will change himself. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think, sir, your time again is very precious. So it's almost close to 1.
Yes.
We have so many questions coming up from the Facebook.
If the response has been fantastic, a lot of people have wanting to know. I'm always available for good things, and especially nowadays we have slightly more time. I am able to manage my time well. I would thank Gates Institute of Science and Management for making this webinar successful and making. I mean, with core of my heart, I would like to thank Mr. Kishan Babu and Mr. Prabhu and Dr. Venkatesh and his team. Venkatesh has been fine. He has been, today only I came to know his father was also in armed forces, in Corps of Engineers, Bombay Sappers. Fantastic. He has served all across the country. Army brats are, they have a typical, they can do anything. They can be anywhere.
I'm delighted, sir. I'm delighted. Highly delighted. Just seeing you.
Yes. And see, I'll tell you one thing. Till morning, I thought that you are somewhere from Telangana or Andhra, but now I know that you are from India. You have served from all over, from Kashmir to Calcutta to South, everywhere. So that is what the army, you travel to different places. People ask me, sir, you are from which place? I have a very simple answer. I am from India.
That's it. That should be the answer.
Yeah,
from every Indian. That's it. From every Indian. So one appreciation from Kala Mohan. He's saying, let this be the last question, dear organizer. His answers are tempting me to stay back, but I have other assignment lined up. More again, thanks. Stay safe, stay blessed. So your answers are really tempting him to stay back.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. It was a pleasure. Kala Mohan ma'am, she's a very renowned educationist. And she's a very close friend of my wife, Dr. Sapna Agrawal.
Very nice.
And hats off to her for having found time.
Yeah.
There's Mr. Mathur who has asked, Sharad Mathur, who has asked some question. Just even if you're this thing, just
are there some hands that has been raised? Can you just find out?
He asked about attitude. Attitude is keep your attitude positive. Without this thing, keep your attitude positive. That is what things will go. I have no time left. Otherwise, I will tell you. Okay, one quote. Okay, one quote from a very young man. A young man with a name called Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, 1971 war. This man got Paramveer Chakra at the age of youngest Paramveer Chakra, but he was not fighting. He was a commander in a tank. With his tank, he destroyed 10 enemy tanks. Okay, so he was asked to go back. His tank had been hit. His tank had been hit by the enemy tank. So when he was told on his radio by his CO to move back, to come to a safer position or abandon the tank, his reply was, sir, my tank has been damaged, but my gun is working and I will not leave these bastards. These were his last words. That is highly motivating. A man of 20 years, such wisdom, such passion, such patriotism, that he said, I have left with no resource, but my main resource is there. I'm going to kill. My mission is still not accomplished. So that's how we are sitting safe and having such wonderful seminar from our homes and from our places.
Yeah.
Jai Hind to everyone. Thank you to all the lovely, wonderful participants. I could not interact with them. I would have loved to interact with them. That is my way of functioning. And yes. I will take all these participants on the screen once and have this thing. In fact, I would request Dr. Venkatesh and his team could take a screenshot of all the participants on the screen. It will be great and we can share with them. And thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. Jai Hind.
Yeah, Jai Hind, sir. I take this pleasure in thanking Colonel Piyush Agarwal, sir. So it was very informative, highly motivated, and very successful presentation. People are delighted, like one of the lady has also mentioned. And I thank all the participants who are throughout India. I'm really delighted to thank all of them, and hope we'll have more sessions, like as Colonel sir has told, we'll have one more session, how to groom up about the leadership. Certainly, yes, we're going to have one more session with sir. Yes. And I thank one and all for presenting yourself here. Thank you, one and all. Sir, Piyush sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you just now stop sharing so that we can have a screenshot maybe?
Okay.
Meanwhile, all the participants, there's a small announcement. All the participants will get the certificates, the participant certificates, once they are registered and they are present throughout the session.
I can leave.
Yes, sir. We have taken the screenshot.
Okay.
A couple of them who were present there. So
yes.
Thank you all once again. It was a wonderful because people coming and joining. It was a great, and the question and answer session, the questions being asked by the participants, and the way the Colonel sir has answered them was highly motivated.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Can we leave now, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
So with your permission, can I?
Yes.